What's up, bosses? Welcome to About Her Business, the podcast where we leave all the gossip at the door and get straight down to business. I'm your host, John Tay, and today we have Sales and Expression Strategist, Ms. Bia Lopez. Now, Ms. Lopez helps skill-driven women build authority through full expression so they become the woman who naturally holds attention, gets chosen while still feeling dangerously good about it. And she's taking a walk on the wild side today on what she means business. So, ladies, grab those cups and those notepads, and let's get down to it. The meeting is now session. Welcome, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for being here. Are you ready to get into today's conversation?
Yes, I'm fully ready.
Let's go. So you spent 15 years in corporate sales before stepping into entrepreneurship. What did corporate teach you about sales, leadership, and navigating spaces where women are often told to tone it down?
The most important thing I've learned, I guess, is that you just need to be you, because no matter what you do, there is always people out there that won't like it. So you have to deal with it. But in terms of like sales, the most important thing that I've learned is that it's very important that you build that trust with your clients and you don't lose it, because that's how you get clients that stay for you longer. And the third thing is that I actually took a very big advantage of my kind of shy at first personality, because actually listening was kind of like my superpower when I was like in sales conversations, because you actually learn a lot from the other person when you are actively listening.
Absolutely. And you have to develop a mentality of where, you don't care too much about what everybody is saying around you, because you can easily be influenced to become someone that you're not. And I've always hated sales and, the concepts of how sales works and things like that. So thank you for opening up and sharing your story with everyone. Now, you shared that you lost your job twice for being outspoken. Can you talk about the moment you realized your voice wasn't the problem, the environment was?
It wasn't like a big, huge moment. It was more like gradual over time. But I knew it when I started like getting upset and replaying back conversations and situations that happened. And I knew how they were taking everything that I was saying out of context and how they were deciding to look at it like their own way. And that's what actually made me kind of lose myself for a little bit. So when I finally got back to myself and regained my confidence, that's when I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna please anybody else here. This has happened twice already. So maybe I'm just not meant for corporate, and this is the sign that I need to put myself somewhere else.
Absolutely. And every job I've ever had, I was never the person that, bit my tongue and kept things to myself. I was always the outspoken person, especially when I was a manager in fast food. I would always be what everybody would call the villain in the room, because I was always opening up my mouth while everybody was just sitting there, enjoying the moment. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of women in business struggle with visibility and self-expression online. So let's talk about that for a second. In your opinion, what keeps talented women from fully owning their voice in business?
Yeah. When growing up, you were told like to keep quiet, just be nice and be cute. And that follows you when you grow up and you start like trying to please everybody and behave properly, because that's what a proper lady should act like, is drinking and hiding. And you start like overthinking every move you take. And we often just like overthink every step and try to control everything.
And so I totally understand where you're coming from on that one, because again, as women, we have to find our place in this world, and we do have passions and we do have goals in life. And men always have to put that label on us that we're so aggressive when we do learn to speak up for ourselves. So I definitely agree with what you just said on that one, Ms. Lopez. Now, you describe your work as helping women build magnetic authority. So let's talk about that. What does magnetic authority look like in a business situation, such as sales, calls, content creation, network, leadership, anything you could think of?
Yeah, of course. Well, you know how magnets work, they just attract to each other. So what I think about authority is that it's an inner knowing that you have, that you know enough, and what you know, it's worth sharing, and it changes people around you. So when you move from that conviction and you don't let in outside circumstances like change that, you become a magnet because you are so sure of yourself that you just show up differently. You take up more space. You go and start talking with people on a networking event, for example, and you know how to lead the conversations because you don't feel threatened by anybody else. And you feel safe being seen, being heard, taking that space. And you trust your intuition when you are making business decisions, so it fully aligns with you. And when you move in the world like that, you have like a sort of peaceful energy that is very grounded, and it attracts people because it stands out from the crowd without you needing to be like loud or anything.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I have a lot of people say around me is let your light shine. So let your light shine, sis. And it literally starts with being confident in self. It literally starts with knowing what you want in life. And so, ladies, I'm telling you, everybody has a light to them. So you have to actually get into self and actually find out what self wants. And then you will be able to attract the things that you want. And a lot of people out there, especially entrepreneurs, are afraid to go to networking events, scared to reach out to people and things like that. But I'm telling you, you real deal. If you believe in yourself, you have to let that light shine everywhere you go, because I'm telling you, if not, people gonna try to put that light out, y'all.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Now, let's talk about feminine leadership. How can women lead powerfully without feeling pressured to operate from constant hustle, performance, or burnout?
One of the things that I think it happens, and it happened to me in corporate and it happens in business, is that we try to operate and think as a man, and we don't have the same levels of energy through the month, and that's something to take in consideration. And we also normally thrive in creativity, in intuition, and in other things that maybe are not so tangible. So of course you need all the systems and all the support so you can be fully expressing your creativity. But I feel like often hustle and burnout comes from doing something that doesn't align with you, either in the topic that you are working in, the type of clients you're working with, or the type of activities that you are doing. Because when you are very aligned and you respect that some days you have more energy than others and you let yourself be more creative, maybe you can be working like 10, 12 hours per day and it's not going to feel like work because you are thriving in that energy. And maybe the following day you feel a little bit tired and you work less. But it's all about doing something that is fully in alignment with who you are, your values, how you want to show up and operate, and the type of business that you want to have. I feel like it's very hard to burn out when you are so in love and so you in your business.
Absolutely. That's beautifully explained. And we could talk about alignment all day, because that is truly what keeps you from burning out, and literally knowing when you need rest, knowing when you can push through on those days. And as you spoke about, women, we all have that once a week time of the month to where our energy may feel depleted, or we may not be feeling like ourselves. So stand in alignment with self. And you brought up another great point of maybe the topic you're speaking on or the things that you're working on may not be in alignment with you. So you have to check in and make sure that you're literally staying aligned with what your true purpose is, because in the world of hustle culture, we literally think that going 24/7 days a week is literally what gets us to success. And honestly and truly, it leads straight to burnout. and we end up, having to take even more time off. So I definitely agree with you on that one, Ms. Lopez. Now, many entrepreneurs are skilled at what they do, but uncomfortable selling. What mindset shifts helped you redefine sales from something transactional into something expressive and aligned?
It's so funny because I didn't know I was doing sales from expression back at the time. But when I look at my career, I was very successful because I was being myself. I was not your typical like sales rep profile. Like I was on the shy side, more quiet at the beginning, listening, not pushy at all, building that trust. But that's actually what made me good because clients would feel safe with me, but also I was able to find gaps in what they were saying, find new opportunities. And whenever I saw the opportunity, I wouldn't mind to just go directly and close the sale, but also because I was very passionate about what I was doing. So whenever I was selling, I knew that I was actually doing good by my client, and I was working with doctors and surgeons, so therefore I was also doing good by patients, improving their lives. And that was like my moving energy every day, showing up. And I was always kind of direct and honest with my clients. There were times where I told them, hey, if this is not working for you, let's not do that, let's find something else. So I think my clients really appreciated that I was always acting out of honesty and integrity with them, and they could trust that I was going to deliver and support them whenever we started working together. So when you look at sales, like, okay, I'm just helping someone, I don't need to close today. This is just one step closer into my world, building that trust. How can I serve them? It changes completely. And when you are very passionate about what you do, why wouldn't you want to put it out there for more people to hear it or experience it? So I think we get very hung up on results and numbers and how do I get them to say yes, instead of, okay, this is great, I need to share it with the world because I truly believe that this can help someone out there. And no matter what, no matter the result, I'm just going to keep going. And that's how you build that resilience. And you actually fall in love with selling, because I just see it like sharing what you know with people. So I think it takes out a little bit of the pressure about selling when you look at it like that. And also, you think that you might need to be a certain way to sell, you might use certain words. And of course, sales psychology is there for a reason. But the more yourself you are, the better it's going to work. And sales is just a skill. And like any skill, you can learn it. And once you learn it, you're going to be able to sell anything, your own or someone else's product or services. So if your business collapses, you're going to be able to build something else because you have the knowledge and the skill. And I think it's one of the most important things to have if you're a business owner, because it's basically the only one that is going to make you money, knowing how to sell.
Absolutely. And that's well explained because, again, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to shift from the transactional relationship to building the actual relationship with their clients. And it's difficult for a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are doing it. But, you hit on that great point of just getting to know your clients and determining literally what is for them, because not everything is for everybody. And if you're a person that's out here that is mission driven or purpose driven, you literally just want to help people. So it's literally about not selling or getting that money into that bank account. It's literally about helping someone. And honestly and truly, those can eventually turn into clients for you as well. You see a lot of businesses out here shifting from that transactional relationship to actually building a relationship with their clients and getting to know them better and offering the best services for them. Now, again, you help women feel good while selling online. Why do you think confidence and embodiment are just as important as strategy when it comes to converting clients?
Well, that's kind of easy. I don't know if you've ever had someone selling to you that you felt it in your body, like they were not being like fully honest, and you were feeling like this is not making no, is not making me feel sure about buying, or I don't know if it's going to help me. Like it shows and people feel it. If you don't believe in what you're selling, if you don't believe in your own words, people can feel the energy the same way that if you are just worried about making the sale and forcing the transaction, like we just spoke, just to get like a number or hitting a target, it's also going to show somehow. And it's always going to go back towards you, because you are going to have clients that maybe they are not happy because they bought something they didn't need it. So especially if you are working, like for example in the coaching industry, and you are selling a transformation that it has to do with identity, for example, or a mindset transformation, you need to be the proof of concept of your work. So that's where the embodiment comes in. I'm the embodiment of being able to sell and do amazing numbers just by being myself and not being like very outgoing, for example, or not very loud. So that's why people are going to be more attracted to me, because this lady, she has the results, but she's been through it. She knows what she's talking about, and she's done the hard stuff. So I believe that she's going to be able to help me go through the hard stuff too.
You see a lot of people, especially in entrepreneurship nowadays, trying to shift to that embodiment style approach, which is, letting people know, hey, I have the experience in this. This is my personal story. And it attracts people to you. And, you know, honestly, I'm happy to see society changing into that way, because for so long we've literally been manipulated into believing that we have to be a certain way when we're online, or be a certain way when we're in the community, when in reality, no, it's literally about just being your authentic self and sharing with people who may align with what you're doing. Hey, I've been through this. I know I know you. I've lost money. I've gone through traumas, and especially with my coaches and therapists out there. And that's what brings in people, because they literally start to believe that you can help them because you are honest about literally what you've been through as well. So thank you for hitting on that point, because a lot of people are now starting to shift, and I'm so happy about that. They're starting to shift from that stuck up, I think I'm a powerhouse type of mentality, to literally just being honest with everyone about what they've honestly and truly been through. And it's literally starting to create communities out here. Now,
Yeah.
I just spoke on social media. So social media is, again, a world where everyone is talking, but not everybody still connects. So what separates content creation that performs from content that builds trust and authority?
The content that I think, especially right now, is getting like really out there, that builds that trust, is probably real content, like showing the true behind the scenes of what is going on, of what it took to succeed. And so you see the person behind the business and you can feel them. And like I said before, you trust them that they are going to get you from A to B because they've been there. And it's also content that stands out because you can recognize, okay, this is the content from this person. Nobody can copy this because they use certain words, or there's certain humor around it, and you see the personality. And of course, there is still content that goes viral that sometimes you see it and you are like, this content is so silly. It has no value at all. But that's type of content that maybe people would save and never look at it again, or maybe they would just consume for information, but it's not going to move anybody to actually buy. So you have to do a mix of content of like, okay, yeah, I'm showing you everything that I know. I'm trying to reach more people with this, but then you're going to see me as a person, and you are going to know me and know my values and know what I stand for and what I don't stand for. So maybe I'm actually going against the current of what everyone is saying. And that's exactly what is going to make you buy from me and not from the next person doing something similar.
Absolutely. And again, you're starting to see a lot of content creators switch over to not editing out those bad parts. I love to see when the person actually still includes that part where something failed, because that's just reality. Sometimes you're in the kitchen and you're moving around and stuff starts to fall down, or you break an egg accidentally. And so I definitely enjoy content like that. And then of course you have your silly content where people are just, out there doing very dangerous things, and you can tell it's very performative. You're just trying to go viral. You're just trying to get those views in. And so that's literally what is happening with a lot of content creators out there, is showing those moments of where we make mistakes, where we, have those messed up days, sitting at a computer on doing work with your hair bunted on. That's reality for a lot of people. But you can switch it up and, have on your outfits and things like that as well. But at the same time, we all know behind the scenes, we're not necessarily in our heels and got our makeup on and our hair at the time. We're literally just trying to get everything set up. So I love watching content like that. And that's a great point to make, because a lot of people want to see the realness of you. They don't want to see that performance and that perfection. People wants to actually really see the real day in the life. So keep your sweatpants on, sis.
Yeah.
Now, for my women that may be transitioning from corporate into entrepreneurship, because I do have a couple women out there that are doing that right now, what are some of the biggest emotional and financial adjustments nobody talks about enough?
The biggest one, and it's the identity crisis, because believe it or not, you have to kind of mourn that identity. In my case, it was like 15 years. It was a long time. So I had like a couple of weeks or a couple of months when I was fired in last October, where I was like mourning that decision and leaving behind the fact that I built a whole career and I just kind of drop it to do something else. And of course, you probably have to deal with at first not everyone around you being on board with the decision, because there is going to be a lot of people that they are going to say, of course, go and follow your dreams. And a lot of people that they are going to feel like scared about that decision and about living, quote unquote, that secure life. And you have to be strong and deal with that. And then, of course, there is the financial uncertainty. Ideally, I think my biggest advice is that keep your work as much as possible so you have a salary coming in until your business starts working. But in my case, for example, I was kind of building my business and working for 2 years or so. And actually things started picking up when I was fired, because I could really go all in my business, and I didn't have something that was actually draining me and killing my creativity and kind of like getting in the way of me spending time in my business. And it was keeping me small somehow. And because the identity of me, CEO, now showing up in my business as myself, it wasn't the same person that was going to work. So I was always feeling like I was divided. And in my case, it was like a really bad situation that came out to be like really good for me, that I got fired. But I understand that everyone has different situations. So if you already have a good job, it would be a nice thing to keep it as long as you can. And of course, you have to really believe that things are going to happen for you, and building a business takes time. You don't get rich overnight, and you need to keep that in mind. So if you can be safe in terms of financial situation, so you don't put more stress on yourself, that would be amazing. it's true that there is people that they work really well under stress, and maybe financially they are not doing very good, and that's exactly the fire that they need to make things work. So you need to know you really well to decide what's best for you. But then also, one of the things is that, especially like as a salesperson, it's true I had a team, but I was working most of the time on my own. But it's true we were all the time in contact, and I had like the company and things like that. And when you come into like entrepreneurship, you are alone. So that's also a big change, especially if you normally go to the office and see everyone every day. That's going to be a big transition, and probably at first you're going to be very lost about where to put your time in, like how to focus on certain tasks. I mean, you are not going to be very productive at first, but I mean, you will figure it out. It's gonna be fine.
Absolutely. And it's a huge shift going from holding the title to now holding the title of CEO. And a lot of people get into the crisis of, having to switch over from who they used to be to who they are now. And you see a lot of that going on right now, especially, with the recent layoffs across this country. And you have to just remember who you are, go through those emotions, go through those moments, because you're literally transitioning from a person that you used to be. And that title, it didn't make or break you, in other words.
Mm.
Now, you built a business around expression and communication. How has learning to fully express yourself changed the way you negotiate, market, and show up as a CEO?
Wait, I love creating content way more now because I'm creating the content that I want in the way that I normally express myself. I'm showing up other areas of myself, like my sarcastic humor or the fact that I do a lot of dancing to activate like my energy. So I'm having way more fun with it. I get to do what I want and I get to share it with the world. And I'm doing all these podcast interviews that I'm loving, and sharing my story has also been like a fully healing journey for me. So that's great. And I'm also learning like a new side of me because I'm able to hold way more, being like more grounded and calm and face a lot of like life transitions that before maybe I would get anxious or afraid or scared. And now it's like I'm very collected all the time. I'm way more connected with my intuition. So that also helps me very fast to make better decisions and make them faster because I'm always operating in alignment. So I don't feel like my business is hard or I'm doing a lot of work because I'm actually enjoying myself when I do it. And I'm attracting also better clients and better people into my world, like people that align with my message, that align with my personality and with my energy. So working with them is also much more fulfilling because it feels easier.
Absolutely. And that's one thing about entrepreneurship is it's going to test you and you're going to test yourself because you actually get to know yourself. You start to know your boundaries. You start to know your energy and start to become connected with your intuition. And, you're able to make good business decisions in that process. You feel alone on the journey, but also at the same time, you're getting to know yourself a lot on the journey. And that's another thing that people don't do. They don't get to know themselves because they literally wrapped around that previous job that they had where it was safety and things like that was coming in. But honestly and truly, they literally turned into whoever they were working for. And then once they lose the job or once they leave the job, they have to go on that identity, finding their identity again. And that's literally where your money, your business success is literally getting to know yourself, especially as a CEO or a founder out there. Now, I want to get some advice from you right now. What advice would you give to women who are afraid that being told they're too bold, too loud, or too opinionated will hurt their business opportunities?
what's the worst that can happen if being too bold is who you are? Because we don't want to be bold just for the sake of being bold if it doesn't align with us. It's perfectly fine to be on the quiet side, but what's the worst that can happen? What can you get out of it? Like, maybe you're going to have a better business, a better life. You're going to be much more happy in everything you do. So playing small just to please those people, it doesn't protect you from anything, really. It's just delaying you finding true happiness and true alignment in your life. Because I'm telling you, like, the moment that you live from your truth, you're gonna start attracting people that are in the same frequency, and a lot of like good things are going to happen to you, and your whole world is going to change because you are just going to move in a different direction. So I would be very mindful of those people that keep telling us that we are too bold or to this or to that. And if possible, I would change environments. It's not always possible, but you want to be surrounded with people that stretch you and call you forward, not people that keep you small. Those people, they are not looking for your best interest, even if they say they are.
Absolutely. What is the worst that could happen? I mean, you're out here anyway, and if you're literally succumbing to society standards and literally saying, "Oh well, I can't be like that because nobody's gonna shop with me," then true enough, that's what's gonna happen. Nobody's gonna shop with you because you're not actually stepping into your full potential, into who you truly are, and a lot of health issues can come from that. My licensed professionals out there will literally tell you holding that tongue and holding everything in versus literally being who you truly are and speaking on it. It can cause a lot of health issues. So I love how you explained that. And literally, that was a drop mic moment for me.
Good, I'm happy.
Now, how does a woman's relationship with her voice directly impact her income?
When you're speaking from your truth, the truth will always get through the algorithm and through everything, and it will actually make you more money because it's not based on just being visible. It's not based on your ego. It's actually coming from a place of mission, a place of serving, a place of helping, and again, a place of truth. And nothing can take take that out of you, and you're going to make way more money if you love who you are and you love what you do. And as long as you are not like being disrespectful with anybody or hurting anybody with your words without need, um everything that you need to say is valid, and not everyone is going to like it, and it's perfectly fine. Like, you're not here is to please everyone.
Absolutely. And I just want to highlight that moment where she said, as long as your words are not hurting anyone without intent. And see, that's the thing, like, because there are some people out here that will literally try to put you to the test, and you have to, once again, not hold that tongue, but actually be opinionated and bold in that moment here.
Yeah, but like, you can be honest and speak your truth and express yourself. If you are not being disrespectful, it's good. So there is always way to express yourself, and just because you have the right to express yourself doesn't mean that you have to say everything that comes through your head.
Exactly.
Like, there is a little bit of filter there that we have to always keep in mind, but just speaking your truth in a kind way is it's good. People are going to receive it, most of the time they are going to take it the right way. They are like mature human beings.
Exactly. Exactly. And let's talk, as someone who teaches women to own the room and their message, what practical steps can entrepreneurs take right now to start building authority online, even with a small audience?
The first thing I'm gonna say that you won't get confidence at that if you don't do the thing. So whatever is showing up on camera, speaking, going to networking events, selling, you will never get brave at it if you don't start doing it. And the first time around, or maybe the first 10 times, it might not feel fully comfortable, but you will get better. You will get used to it. So it's just stop overthinking and just do the thing. And that's the biggest advice I'm going to say here. Then, of course, you need to stop trying to appeal to everyone, because you are not for everyone, and the right people will find you. And there are other ways, like you can use your voice that go beyond social media, that actually are going to put you in front of more people, like, for example, podcasts or speaking. And it's good. It's okay to just not be like everybody else and have different opinions, and that's actually refreshing. So the only thing is that you need to know that you are allowed to speak your mind, and you are also allowed to change your mind after a while once you learn and you grow. And there is something that you have to say that people are in need to hear, and they are waiting for you to show up and say it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have enjoyed having Miss Lopez here. And we always leave with a legacy here on About Her Business. And I give you a couple of minutes to think about this. When people look back on your work and the movement, what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
I really want to change how women feel around showing up online, sharing your voice, and selling. Like, I want them to feel dangerously good about it, and kind of like sexy, even being connected with that feminine energy. But the other thing that I want to do is, I have a big vision for my business, and I always say I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family, not because I just want the money to fly a private jet. I think the world already has like enough people flying private jets, but because I really want to be able to fund women that don't have the same opportunities, probably in third world countries and things like that. Just being able to impact and help their communities locally, so they are also able to use their voice to change their country. And I'm a scuba diver, so I actually love scuba diving. I love the ocean, and I think it's the source of a lot of good things on this earth, because it regulates the temperature. It actually, the corals give more oxygen than most of the forest that we have on the surface. So we need to keep the ocean clean if we want the planet to survive. And I want to do a lot of like beach cleaning, ocean cleaning, and coral restoration, because it also gives me a good excuse to keep traveling and scuba diving.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful legacy. And I agree with you. Please keep the ocean clean, because down here near the Gulf of Mexico, we have a lot of people throwing things into the sea, and that can affect the animals, that can affect the water. And in order to have a safe environment, you got to keep nature as pure as possible. Now, sadly, we've come to the end of today's episode. But before we go, we're going to make sure that we get all of Miss Lopez's information. Please let us know how we can sign up for your services.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, on Threads, and on TikTok. And my handle is everywhere the same, is at It's Bea Lopez. So I'm very easy to find, and my DMs are always open.
Absolutely. And I will be leaving all that information down in the description box below. Any final words before we leave today's meeting?
Please go and use your voice, because you have something worth to say, and there is someone out there that needs you to say it.
Absolutely. And ladies, this wraps up season 1 of About Her Business, the podcast. I have truly enjoyed every single lady that has came on and spoken with me this season, as well as Ms. Lopez. Thanks again to Sales and Expression Strategist, Miss Bia Lopez, for coming on and sharing her insights. And you make sure you're subscribed so you never miss whenever I upload, and to stay tuned for season 2. Also, leave some comments down in the comment section on which industry you think I should interview next. Until we meet in season 2, keep your goals tight, your circle tighter, and that bank account growing.